Hi guys, and welcome to the week ahead in astrology. My name is Lana Muhammad. I am an intuitive astrologer, psychic medium, and herbalist. And I do these videos because I love sharing some of the messages that I get for the collective. And I just enjoy screaming into the void. So there's that. One of the biggest things that we have going on, as you all know, is the Sagittarius new moon. New moons are periods during the month where the energy leads us towards making more changes. It's about almost like a portal opening up so that we can step through like new timelines and new perspectives. There's a burst of energy. This particular burst of energy is aligned with the sign of Sagittarius, which Sagittarius rules optimism. It is adventure, it's seeking, it's growth, right? Because it's ruled by Jupiter, which is all of those things. And it's important to note that it comes after Scorpio season, right? Where a lot of rebirth, change, endings, and murkiness is just kind of gone through. This is almost like the lotus blossoming after the fact. And the major themes that are coming up for this particular moon has to do with expansion. And expansion feels like a change of pace. So if life has been going one way for you, this honestly feels like a culmination and a turning point where things are going to start picking up for you a lot more than they have in the past. So I would set intentions around I would set intentions around anything that you want changed, honestly, for this moon. This is a very lucky moon where I feel as though there is the energy of experimentation, right? It's as though the dice is being rolled and anything goes. Because another thing that I heard was, what are the odds? Which tells me that we're moving in the energy of a lot of possibilities that maybe were not available to you at other times, and they're opening now. I also think that this is bringing about the ability to have more willpower. I feel as though things in the sky are not as heavy as they have been, especially with several of the big planets coming out of retrograde. So now it's almost like there's just an open window to lead or go wherever you need to go without feeling as restrained. And I have my notebook because I'm looking at my notes. Another major theme, timelines collapsing and timelines coming in. When I say a timeline, I really just mean like a certain mindset or way of being or believing and thinking that you have spent so much time in that now it's become a reoccurring theme in your life. I strongly am getting that those timelines are now collapsing or merging into one, and now new ones are being birthed, right? You have the ability to reassociate certain ways of being to where you actually want to go. And this in turn also makes this feel like an acceleration that's happening. You basically make up the rules, and this is true at any given moment, right? But because of where the planets are falling right now, it's especially in our faces. There are new rules. So one of the first transits I felt really called to look at was the North Node in Aries, North Node being where we're going, the collective pull of the planet to and where we're trying to heal through, is trining, which is a really harmonious aspect, the moon in Sagittarius. And when these two come together, right, North Node, where we're going, and the moon / the sun, which is emotion, and you can call the sun ego. Sometimes I look at it as just like the present moment, what life is like right now. And this really feels like a lot of self-determination, right? Because if the North Node is in Aries, Aries being a sign of fire and individuality and self, it really seems as, and then Sagittarius is mutable fire that moves, so that honestly just feels like an entire supernova of energy coming together. And it feels like taking major risks are happening right now. But the thing is, those risks don't actually feel risky. It's exactly what's being asked of you right now. It is also something that is going to lead you to a lot of success. Like, it's almost as if things are just landing in your lap because you're bold enough to take the step. This also can feel like a graduation of sorts. So remember when I was talking about, timelines, things shifting, you have learned the lesson. And one thing that I feel like Sagittarius does not get enough credit for is how wise it actually is. I think it is probably one of the wisest signs, simply because it sees things that are very far off in the distance. And I feel like there's just a natural understanding of people, the world, life around them that Sagittarius just kind of gets. And if we go back to where it's at in astrology, right, coming right after Scorpio, rebirth, etc., Sagittarius is literally lived all of the first half of the zodiac. And now it's like, okay, what else? So it has all that experience. I think a lot of us are realizing just how much experience we actually have, like just how much we've actually grown. And this is a time to acknowledge that and to feel thankful for it. And I think that by realizing that you have grown, it pulls you out of your comfort zone in a really good way, right? Because it makes you not as afraid to leave somewhere that has been quote unquote comfortable. And with this also comes clarification. So clarifying, what exactly do I believe, right? North Node in Aries is all about self. How do I define me? Who am I amongst the crowd? And maybe it's as though, a lot of your perspectives that belong to others or, were what you once conformed to, they're just dropping away because you're like, that's not true at all. So there's higher levels of truth for this moon and honestly for this week. That's forcing you to reinvent yourself and be more honest with yourself than you have been maybe in a long time. And finally, what I have for that North Node Aries energy is follow through. I was touching a little bit on the willpower that's coming about for this moon. And I'm almost feeling like reach for the stars, know your limits. It almost feels like not even going beyond our limits, but because we know exactly what they are, that alone just feels very expansive. It feels like belief in self and getting carried away, but in the best way possible. Next thing that I saw was the North Node conjunct Chiron. And a conjunction just means that two things are in the same sign. So it's like a doubling of energy. It's not always good. It's not always bad. Take it as you will. But what I got through for this was something that feels very positive in the realm of shadow work. And it seems like we are shattering misperceptions overall, right? If we think about this moon being in Sag again, Sagittarius is that wiser perspective. And I've always thought of it as another form of vision in astrology. I think that a lot of us are going to be understanding our wounds, right? Our inner child. especially because Chiron rules wounded healer, and that's in Aries as well. I think that we're able to transcend a lot of what has been happening. And I'm getting the word like undeservingness, unworthiness. And because there's more of a playful energy, it's like, no, we do actually deserve this. No, there's no need for the imposter syndrome. There's no need to feel like, you know, you don't belong. It's remothering and letting go of things that feel like shame or feel like they want to guilt you. You know, it's a very freedom from self-oppression happening. I also heard the word know your outcome. And sometimes it's about you rewriting the story and believing in the outcome that you want to get. Right? It's as though you're believing that you are the master of your destiny. Therefore, if you desire it and you know clearly what you want, then you're going to get that. But you have to believe that it's in alignment with your story right now. So a lot of positivity coming in. I also get things about friendships, especially because Aries is first house, but its opposite is Libra, which is all about partnerships. And I think that it's getting easier to be yourself amongst other people with this transit, and helping to create genuine relationships with other people. And also sharing your truth too. All of this just kind of speaks of like unapologetic honesty, but it seems like people are really digging it because of how true it is. It almost was very inspirational and very loving as well. But if you've been worried about partnerships or friendships, I think luck is on our side for the most part. There are a couple of other transits that we might want to look out for as far as romance is concerned, but I'll get to those a little bit later. The final one that I have is staying accountable. So I think with this energy of graduation comes the mindset of how do we make sure that we are carrying on and staying in resonance with what it is that we've set out to do, or honoring the growth that we've made. I feel like it's important to stick to our plans and not shift them or change our focus in any way, shape, or form. And honestly, what that feels like is just don't look back. Don't look back at circumstances where you felt less than. Don't look back at people where the dynamic wasn't even. Don't do any of it because you do deserve a lot more, and you are ready for greater accomplishment as well. So stay consistent. And yeah. One more thing, making amends. Because I saw the word grudge holding flash, and I don't know where that came about. I guess it's just a matter of intuition for why this popped up. But I kind of feel like if there is, I think there's like a call to not take things so very seriously, especially like past hurts with people, or someone did something to kind of offend you. It's a matter of just burying the hatchet and not taking it so personally, or pointing the finger. Yeah, I felt like I needed to say that. So if that's you, then don't hold no grudges. Stop it. Oh, where else do we need to go for this moon? A couple of places where the planets are right now and why I think it's important to note. First one that really stood out to me was Mercury. Mercury is in the sign of Capricorn, right? And Capricorn is ambition, it's will, it's all this steady driving energy that keeps us setting goals and remaining determined. And I feel like it is the perfect balance to Sagittarius, which at times can be very flighty and indecisive in its flightiness. I feel like the two of those together just give leadership energy and sets up a really nice foundation for manifestation. which is why I'm like, I just keep getting luck is on your side, luck is on your side. And this would be a great moon to write some intentions or like do some candle magic, or you know what I mean? Because it's like things are heightened. And then Jupiter as well. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and with Jupiter being in Taurus, right, the sign of abundance and steadfastness and whatnot, it's just nice to get all this grounded, practical, earthy energy tied to Sagittarius, which means that what is floating in up here and all our good ideas actually have the ability to show up in the 3D. So I would yeah, I would use this to get very clear-headed about where you're going, or to focus even more and hone in even more, and definitely set those short-term goals. I also got the word scheduler. So this is funny because it's something that's been popping up in a lot of readings for a lot of people. Get yourself a scheduler. That's another way to hold yourself accountable. As I've been talking about in this video, hold yourself accountable, get a scheduler and stick to it. Okay, on to the more shadowy side of this week / this moon. We opened up this week with Venus opposing Jupiter. Venus, the heart, our values, how we process relationships, what we think is attractive / what is our own personal brand of magnetism, right? Versus Jupiter, which is, you know, abundance, expansion, whatnot. Those two are opposite. And oppositions don't always mean a bad thing. It's just a heightened form of two energies. But this time it does feel as though it's like a clashing that brings about more openness. And with it, I got the words outdated values and beliefs. I think with Venus and Scorpio holds on very deeply to what it believes is near and dear to its heart. And the word that I'm even getting is obsession, right? And it might be time to let go of some of those things that we have been in relationships that are no good for us or make us feel worse, make us feel, you know what I mean? And it's almost as though Jupiter in Taurus is relying on sound wisdom, and it's saying, well, in order for me to actually have security or to actually have, you know, abundance and whatnot, I think I have to let this thing go. I have to chop wood. So it kind of feels like we're shifting and finding what actually feels like security. For some of us, that's letting go of a job. For others, it might be a realization that we still love someone, or, you know, we're still emotionally enmeshed in relationships that we thought we were over, but no, a piece of us still really aligns with it. And now this is a choice to one, release the shame around how you've been feeling, but two, look at it from a different perspective. So if you've been looking at it like it's a loss, or if you've been looking at it like, you know, maybe I should take a step back into that situation, I think it's about finding a way to give yourself closure. And also to be okay with the fact that, one, you do feel that way, but also be okay with the fact that, yes, that is ending. Overall, I think that this created a feeling of a little bit of disharmony and uncertainty, especially because it's like those two signs are very fixed, and I think they love knowing what to predict. And with something as flighty as Sag, it's like you don't know what the outcome is. So it's kind of an uncomfortable space to be in. But the help, I think, comes in with Mercury sextiling Venus, which again is helping us set our goals. And honestly, it's about using this Venus energy, right? Because I think Venus also is about what makes us feel good and what we enjoy, from a very intuitive space, especially because Venus is in Scorpio. It's about what you naturally just know without having to think, and then just going for that. So it's a very like heart and intuition and mind like connected. It feels good. I also think it helps us to break bad habits simply because we're so in tune with where we're at right now. But the card that I pulled for this week, Judgment. And to me, this speaks of, I'm hearing like another life, or this honestly just feels like the new start. And there's quite a few different tarot cards that say like new start. This to me feels like second chances, and making inner peace. Yeah. And victory too. It feels like a lot of victory for a lot of us. Your Judgment. You know, maybe it's been a bit of a long journey. But now it's like you're finally starting to come out of the woods. And before we go, I'll pull one more card. But yeah, there's definitely an energy of mastery here. I also think Sagittarius should be more associated with mastery as well. I think Gemini is a forever student, but to me, Sagittarius is the sage, philosophical teacher who actually has a lot of knowledge to share. But our final card for today, it's a Nine of Wands, Wounded Warrior. And this is in a fire card. So there's a message about like inner impression and I don't know, it's almost like, so sometimes with me, the Nine of Wands is that card of like, I've been through a lot and I'm waiting to see what's around the corner because I don't know what's gonna hit me next. I don't know if I can trust. But it kind of feels like the only thing that's around the corner that we really need to worry about is honestly our fears, because I'm hearing the word slay your fear, right? That alone has the opportunity to take what could be your next blessing and turn it into, you know, another situation or another way that we can cheat ourselves out of abundance and what's coming for us. So be careful with that. I also think with the Nine of Wands, some of us may be taking things for granted and not saying thank you for what it is that we have in this moment. And I think it's because like we do have where we're going in mind, but we just want to be done with all the mundanity of taking things one step at a time. And honestly, this does feel like just one bite of the elephant at a time. Don't get so defensive about the small things you have to do or be defensive about where you're at right now, because that's part of you getting to the outcome. So slay your fears and open your heart to where you're at right now, because that's the key. And I also think that that's Jupiter and Taurus as well. But that is what I have for us today. And if you'd like to book a reading, my information is below. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.